The African Union's big promise, and big failure. How our own leaders betrayed us and gave our future to outsiders. Once upon a time, Africa had a big dream. Long ago, Africa was full of pain. Our lands were stolen. Our people were taken as slaves. Our cultures were attacked. When we finally got independence from colonial rulers, we dreamed of something big, a union. A strong African Union that would protect us, unite us, and help us grow together. In 2002, that dream became official. The African Union, AU, was born. It replaced the old Organization of African Unity, OAU, which had helped end colonization but had failed to stop poverty and war. The AU made big promises. They told us that by the year 2030, Africa would become strong, united, rich, and independent. They gave this dream a name, Agenda 2030. It sounded beautiful. We believed it. But what happened after that? Nothing changed. 20 years passed. What did the AU give us? Still the same poverty. Still the same hunger. Still the same war. Still the same leaders living in luxury while children starve. The AU talked a lot but did little. Instead of saving us from foreign control, it opened the doors for more Western interference. Our gold, oil, diamonds, cobalt, and even our water all continue to be looted by outsiders. And our leaders? They smiled and signed the papers, collected their bribes, and flew first class to Europe. How African leaders use media to fool the people. Many African leaders are masters of drama. They use media like a movie stage. Every day, they come on TV, wear suits, speak big English, and say they are working hard. They cut ribbons, shake hands, take photos with foreign visitors, and promise change. They say, we are bringing development, but on the ground, the people see nothing. The roads are still broken. The hospitals have no medicine. The schools have no teachers. The farms are dry. They fool the people with fake ceremonies. They show off with cameras, but it's all for show. What they tell the people is never what they do. It's a play. A sketch. A performance. Behind the scenes, they are stealing money, selling the country's resources, and obeying foreign powers. These leaders act like they are wise, but many of them are dumb, greedy, and corrupt. They take decisions that hurt the country, not help it. For 50 years, they failed Africa again and again, but still, they keep acting like heroes on TV. The media is their weapon. Instead of speaking for the poor, it praises the president. Instead of exposing the truth, it hides the lies. This is how the people are kept blind, by stories, speeches, and fake news. Africa doesn't suffer because of a lack of intelligence, Africa suffers because of too much pretending. Our riches make others richer. Look around. Congo has the world's most cobalt. Nigeria has oil. Mali has gold. But the people are poor. Why? Because big Western companies take everything. They dig our mines, take our oil, cut our forests, and give us nothing. They pay little tax. They bribe our leaders. And they leave behind pollution, broken villages, and angry youth. Every year, $50 billion leaves Africa in illegal money. That is not small money. That is the money of stolen futures, broken schools, and empty hospitals. Did the AU stop it? No. Did they protect the people? No. They looked away and called another meeting. We wanted our own army, but got foreign soldiers instead. The AU once promised to build the African Standby Force, a joint African army to stop wars, protect borders, and fight terrorism. We were proud of that plan. We said, let us be like NATO. Let us defend ourselves. But years passed. The army never came. Instead, we saw French troops in Mali. US bases in Niger. European planes flying over Libya. We were told they came to help. But after they came, things only got worse. Libya was destroyed. Mali became full of rebels. Terrorists grew stronger in the Sahel. And still, we had no African army. Just more foreign boots on African soil. Why we have no peace. The AU is supposed to solve conflicts. But where is the peace? In Sudan, war displaced thousands in Darfur. In the DRC, rebels fight over minerals while the people suffer. In Somalia, bombs explode, children cry, and nothing changes. The AU gives speeches. They create reports. They hold peace summits. But on the ground, the guns don't stop. The Peace and Security Council was meant to stop wars. But it is weak. It has no power. It makes noise, not change. And what about hunger? In 2025, over 600 million Africans are hungry. How can that be in a land so rich? Because we are always in conflict. Because climate change is killing farms. Because leaders steal food aid. And because the West only helps when it suits them. Look at Ukraine, they got billions in food, weapons, and support. But when Africa starves, they give small donations and big lectures. Foreign bases are the new chains. Did you know Africa has over 50 foreign military bases? The US is in Djibouti, Niger, and Somalia. The French are in Mali, Chad, and Côte d'Ivoire. Why are all these armies here? They say it's to fight terrorism. But the truth is, these bases protect foreign interests, not African lives. They are placed near oil fields, mines, and shipping routes. When Niger said no more US bases in 2023, the West panicked. Why? Because they don't want Africa to think for itself. And the AU? Silent. Afraid to offend the same countries that fund them. Our leaders live like kings, while we eat dust. Let's be honest, Africa's biggest problem is bad leadership. Many of our presidents are not leaders, they are looters. In Angola, the Dos Santos family stole billions while people lived in slums. In Zimbabwe, Mugabe held power for decades, and left behind a broken economy. In Nigeria, oil money vanished into private jets and foreign bank accounts. These leaders don't work for the people. They work for their pockets. They smile for the West, sign resource deals, and betray their own nations. And the African Union? Full of these same leaders. So how can it hold anyone accountable? The African peer review mechanism was supposed to expose bad governance. But it is voluntary and useless. No one listens. No one cares. Still the poorest, still the hungriest. After all the promises, Africa is still the world's poorest continent. Over 400 million people live below the poverty line. Children still learn under trees. Mothers still give birth without doctors. Farmers still pray for rain because there is no irrigation. The African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, was supposed to create business between African countries. But it is slow, filled with paperwork, and blocked by selfish governments. Meanwhile, the IMF and World Bank still give loans with hard conditions. Cut your budgets. Stop subsidies. Sell your assets. They say it's for development, but it only brings more debt and more poverty. The West smiles in public, but steals in private. The West is not innocent. They pretend to be our friends. They send aid, invite leaders to summits, and speak of democracy. But behind closed doors, they protect their companies and control our leaders. They say Africa is full of terrorism, so they send troops. But those troops never stop the war. They only protect Western mining companies. They say they support free speech. But when African youth rise and protest against corruption, they call it extremism. They give us aid, but that aid is tied to politics, tied to control. They want us to stay weak, stay divided, and stay begging. How the West made Africa poor on purpose. Let us tell you the bitter truth. The West did not just come to help Africa. They came with plans. Big evil plans. They said they want to support Africa, but behind the sweet words was a knife. They came with military bases, loans, contracts, and big promises. But in the end, they left behind broken countries, hungry children, and divided people. When Africa started standing up, the West brought down leaders who loved their people. They killed Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso. They destroyed Libya, which was one of the richest countries in Africa. They made sure no one could rise. They supported weak and corrupt African presidents who only think of their pockets. The Western system is smart. They don't steal by force. They steal by law. They sign papers and call them deals. But these deals give them 90% of the oil, the gold, the diamonds. And give Africans only 10%. Even that 10% goes into the hands of a few big men who drive jeeps and fly private jets. The village people, the farmers, the workers, they see nothing. When the people protest, the West sends weapons. Not to protect the people, but to protect their money. They create militias. They fund one group today, then another group tomorrow. They make neighbors fight each other. They make tribes turn into enemies. They create chaos. Why? Because when there is war, they can say, Africa is not ready. Africa is dangerous. And then they bring soldiers. American soldiers. French soldiers. NATO soldiers. They build military bases in Africa. Not to protect Africans, but to protect their companies, their resources, their banks. They never gave Africans the right to control their own wealth. The oil belongs to the West. The diamonds go to Europe. The cobalt goes to their battery factories. Even the farmland is being sold to foreigners. Africans are left with the crumbs. The West also made sure Africa stayed divided. They broke unity. They made sure ECOWAS would listen to France. They made sure the AU would listen to the EU and the USA. They punished any African country that tried to stand up. They blocked trade, froze bank accounts, and even threatened war. And what did the African Union do? Nothing. No strong words. No real action. Just silence. Or soft speeches full of English, but empty of courage. This is how the West made Africa poor, not by accident, but by design. This was planned. This was organized. This was war without bullets. This was economic slavery. So what can we do now? Africa must wake up. The AU was built on a dream, but it has become a tool of the same people we wanted freedom from. Our leaders, our institutions, even our armies, many are no longer working for us. But we, the people, are not powerless. Across the continent, young Africans are rising. They are asking hard questions. They are saying, we want our land back. We want our future back. Movements are growing. Ideas are spreading. And a new generation is not afraid. The African Union must either change or be replaced. It must. Stop depending on Western money. Build real African unity, not just words. Create a real joint army to protect our borders. Punish corrupt leaders and protect the people. Make sure our resources serve Africans first. Conclusion: Africa must break the chains. Africa was not born to suffer. Africa was not meant to beg. Africa was born to rise. But we can only rise if we stop following failed systems. The African Union promised us freedom, but gave us betrayal. It became a table of elites, not a shield for the poor. Today, millions of Africans still live in hunger, walk through war, and die without help. And the world watches, because it profits from our pain. This must end. We don't need another 50 years of promises. We need action now. We must demand a new system. A system that loves Africa. That protects Africa. That listens to the people, not foreign masters. And maybe one day, our children will look back and say, they tried to bury us, but we became the roots of a new Africa.